What's going on, podcast fans? It's Dan here, back with another episode of Fun, where we take fun very seriously. With me, as always, is my podcast producer, the Chuckle Wizard, Nathan.
Oh, hello, Daniel. There's some breaking news.
Breaking news?
Yes, I finally got word. As you know, as a producer, I'm always trying to find us the best sort of ways to get out there.
Okay,
and
great.
I've sold the podcast.
You sold this podcast already?
I have sold the podcast. Yes.
To who?
There's this little tech company called Weyland-Yutani. They want some podcasts, so we are now we are part of Weyland-Yutani.
Wow, we're part of that big conglomerate now.
Yeah, which I think is a good idea. It's never been bad for anyone to be a part of Weyland-Yutani.
Right, yeah. Everything always turns out good when that company gets involved.
Yeah, I think so. We'll be taken care of, for sure. For sure.
Yeah. Big corporations always know. If Jeff Bezos taught me anything, it's that big corporations always know best. Elon Musk was just telling me the other day, corporations know best. And so I'm glad to have a corporate overlord now. Feels great.
Yeah. Yeah,
Did you spell Wayland wrong in the notes?
Sure.
Is it Is it EY or AY?
I don't know. I think it's EY and then D. What a specific thing to tell our audience that I spelled a fake company wrong.
I just got to humble you, a little bit in front of the audience.
You're going to have to do better than that, Buster. No humbling over here.
Truly a college professor, if there ever was one.
So knowledgeable and wise.
Nathan, Alien is a franchise that we bond over, and we both have a great respect for.
Yes.
I love it. I, honest to God, can watch all of them. I find redeeming qualities in all of them because it's like, I feel like a. Can you hear the beeping backup noise? I
did. In fact,
that's Weyland-Yutani backing up to load up all the podcast equipment.
There's all the truck. They're ready to go.
But they need all our computers.
Yeah, it's for the good of the company, Dan.
Yeah, for the good of the company. They're driving away now. I completely forgot what I just was going to say.
I don't know. So you're like a dog, just a shiny thing.
Truly. Well, I couldn't escape the beeps. I don't know what to say.
Couldn't escape the beeps. Neither could our audience. Now that you've made it very clear that there were beeps. What were we talking about? You mocked my spelling. Oh, we love Alien. We can watch all of them.
I love how your key point so far in the episode has just been me mocking your spelling. We love Alien.
I'm going to take that to heart, and I'm going to take it to my grave, and that's just the way it's going to be.
In your defense,
yes, in my defense.
iCloud didn't notice that it was spelled wrong. All right. So iCloud's really letting us both down by not having Weyland-Yutani in their spell check database.
Apple doesn't really want to acknowledge Weyland-Yutani, competitor.
Well, honest to God, neither does the Alien franchise. The AVP franchise and the comics like to talk about the Yutani family, but it's really just Weyland business when it comes to the Alien franchise. But
it's a good point.
I'm talking nerd business now. I'm talking like a nerd, an Alien nerd. But that is appropriate because I just did an Alien costume evolution that has dropped on my YouTube channel.
Yes.
And now you're probably like, Dan, we want to know more about Xenos. Mm-hmm. And we want to know how you feel about the Alien movies.
That's very good. I liked that pun. Very good. So
Thank you.
Let's talk all about him, my man, because I don't remember when I first saw an Alien movie. It was probably college. I was a wee little scared boy, and I didn't see anything that was scary until about college.
Well, my first Alien movie, I think, was Spaceballs.
Oh, sure. Oh, that makes sense. Totally.
Yeah.
Hello, my baby. Hello, my honey.
Yeah,
hello,
I saw that. I was like, what is this making fun of? Because it's a weird ending. And it's the same actor, too. Isn't it John Hurt at the end?
Yeah. Who is such a mensch for just being like, I'm going to do this scene, too.
Truly, he's a master of his craft, John Hurt, I have to say. I truly love that man.
We stand the War Doctor.
And Ollivander, of course.
Of course. Do you remember when you first saw? I mean, I guess it was space. Was it like later on in life? Because when I saw Alien, which is where we'll start when we get into it, man, it was an immediate like love. it was like this, whatever is going on here, this is it. This is
we were very
thing.
pro Alien household. We loved X-Files. We loved, like The Abyss, like we were very pro Alien household. The truth
Alien
was
adjacent.
out there for us. Yeah, the truth was out there. And so when it came to the Alien movies, we bought right in. And you know what's so interesting about the Alien movie is that like for the first like half of it, it's just a vibe. It's a real vibe, the movie. It's just a total. It's like you could practically fall asleep. It's like ASMR at the beginning of the original movies.
Dan, you're not wrong, because I literally have a full album of like alien-based space noise backgrounds that I listen to when working or playing.
Right.
Because of course, and we'll talk. I did put in the thing. We should talk a little bit about the video game Alien Isolation as well. But Alien Isolation, because they remade all of those sound effects for those games, and then all those sound effects kind of were just on computer discs or whatever. And
of course,
so you got out in the world. So
yank. Thank you.
You talk about that vibe before we get. Let's hold off before we get into it. I want to talk about the evolution in the sense that you have a beautiful alien costume in your evolution video, which is both somehow. This is the one that's not super hard to wear. This
one's the easy one, and then I have this beautiful detailed mask.
Wow.
That is also a fun.com exclusive. Head to the disneydan.com to get 15% off with that special link. You have to use the link. If you're going to get my coupon discount, you have to use my link.
Gotta use the link.
Because there is no coupon code at checkout. You have to.
And I just want to be clear, both these costumes are perfect and there's no issues with them, and you should buy them.
Yeah. If you love the smell of a Halloween mask, this is really going to take
That's going to do it for you.
It's got the full rubbery stink in there.
I was going to say it certainly looks very breathable. For sure. Give it a little kiss, Dan. Give him a little kiss. Yay.
No, it's very cool.
Yikes.
They have an adult size and a plus size in this Xenomorph costume, and it has like all the thing that you don't really see in the video is that it has this like chest plate that has the back silhouette is like really nice when you're wearing it because it has all of his tubes. You know what I mean? It has all the dangles when you're roaming around. So I loved it.
Did you get the big size at Torrid at the mall? The plus size women's store? Was that where you picked up?
No. Just the plus size section of HalloweenCostumes.com. Once again, use that link and get 15% off. I know I tried dressing up in this evolution.
Yeah, you really did.
I like to wear costumes, and I've done bits before, but I wore the costume the whole time. How did you feel about that as a viewer?
I thought, personally, like, Dan's going for them Jenny Nicholson numbers, is what I thought. Like, we're...
Shots fired and shots taken. Ugh,
yeah,
you got
but
me.
also, correct move. Need more plushies. Take a thing. But
I have filled my set with Kermit plushes, and people have loved it. You know what I mean? And
of course.
So,
no, I loved it. I think anything that means we get to see less of your face is a good call for the show. I think.
Wow.
Just check the numbers. It's analytics. It's not personal.
Injured.
It's business. No,
the psychic damage I just took from that. Is that using that phrase correctly? I see a lot of people talking about psychic damage. Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
which I thought was
just
a Pokemon move.
Anyone listening to this is getting psychic damage. So,
you really think so? I don't know.
Maybe.
That.
I don't know.
Maybe,
but what I would actually, to be honest, it's so fun. You seem to be having fun with them, and so it's always fun to watch you have fun. So
yeah, I was just talking to my therapist about it, actually, like how I'm trying to recapture fun, on my 100th episode in my career of doing this now. And I think a big part of it is just dressing up like an idiot. So I'm glad that Halloween Costumes and I are now buddies. Because
ask a personal question, which is, have you talked to your therapist about this podcast? Have you mentioned
we're only on like episode 6 or 7, not yet, man. No,
I mean, I'm looking for like, an extra number. That's all I'm saying. But if you're seeking out fun,
Yeah, well, actually, I help my therapist with her YouTube channel. How do you like that?
How do you like that? How do you like
Which I think
that?
is cool because I'd like to have my therapist on my podcast eventually to like just talk about Disney adults and just like emotions and stuff. And so stay tuned. I'm this close to getting to happen. So Pete Holmes has his therapist on his podcast all the time. And I'm like, I should do that. I could do that. People would love to hear that conversation, I bet. Or maybe not. I have no idea. Let me know in the comments.
Yeah. Yeah, let's go in the Pete Holmes territory of things. That's laugh a lot and be kind of Jesus-y sometimes. That's the Pete Holmes aesthetic.
If I had a nickel for every tweet I got, it's like, God, Dan talks about Jesus a lot. Does anybody know why? It's like, yeah, Christian trauma, bro.
Yeah. The Wayland Yutani of our universe is the church.
Right,
Anyway,
Jesus Christ. Did you learn anything from the costume evolution? Were there any new aliens that I presented to you?
I learn anything? That's so
Were you aware of the 4D
interesting.
speed of fright? Were you aware of
Was I aware of the speed of fright? Yes, absolutely.
Okay. You big Jeffrey Coombs fan?
No, I just I had put together a audio playlist of simulator rides.
Right, you're the wrong person to talk to. You
really
are a nerd at a very specific
guy.
place in terms of trying to surprise you with stuff.
Yeah. What? What's his alien?
Speed of Fright.
What?
I have the vinyl of Speed of Fright.
Yeah.
In its original Japanese.
Yeah. Oh, I'd love that. I'm trying to think. if there's anything that I learned new about.
How about Alien War? Were you big up on Alien War? That horror.
Yeah, I loved it. They sucked the guy in the thing.
It's such an incredible. And what I didn't talk about in the video that kind of fascinated me is that these two guys got caught up in this because they liked collecting movie props, and so they bought a bunch of movie props from the second Alien film, and were like, well, let's display them somewhere. And it's like, oh well, if we're going to display them, let's make a little like interactivity thing around them. And so it all just came from like prop collecting, which I have such respect for. I love prop collectors. I really do.
Yeah.
It's its own special world, you know.
I love the weird days of companies being like, oh, you want to use Alien? Sure, I guess.
Sure. Yeah,
whatever.
Yeah. Like the guy's like literally pitched the CEO of Fox and he's like, whatever. If it's going to make us cash, sure. But we had people were crazy. James Cameron made people crazy about aliens because he brought he brought the U.S. military into the science fiction of it all and made like a Thin Red Line type like alien film. I don't know why I leaned down on Mel Gibson's A Thin Red Line. Is Mel Gibson that?
No, that's George Clooney.
Saving Private Ryan's
that's
and Aliens.
Terrence. You're not thinking of Terrence Malick's The Thin Red Line. You're thinking of We Were Soldiers.
We Were Soldiers. Wow. R.I.P. my dad, who watched all of those movies all the time, despite not serving a lick of time in the military. Loved a military movie.
Double salute for a military movie. We're going to get all over the place if we're not careful. So let's go all the way back to Alien numero uno, and we'll go from there.
Sure. I talked a lot about that costume in the Evolution.
It's beautiful, and it's an amazing costume, and it was an absolute pain in the butt.
Truly a nightmare costume, to the point where he couldn't even sit. They had to build a special hammock for him to swing in when he wanted to relax.
And just so much. We'll talk about the book later on in this episode because it's what I did for fun. But I read a massive, wonderful book about the first film, and man, oh man, was it like an Italian model maker and Giger and all these people, and they were fussing about this costume, and Giger wanted it to be translucent at one point where you could see they almost put. There's a great thing in the book where they talk about how at one point, I think it was Giger's idea, was to put maggots underneath. So you have the shell translucent, and then there's maggots wiggling underneath inside of the xenomorph. And
who is that for? Who is that for? HR, you know?
We'll talk about HR in a minute. But what's his name? Badeo, right? I'm trying to remember the gentleman's name.
Balaji Badeo. Yeah.
Yeah, Badeo literally went, nope. Like he had been like the nicest guy about everything, and then he was like, "I draw the line at maggots on my head. Not going to happen."
Yeah, not going to happen.
But man, they I think the best thing about that movie is that they did encounter some issues with the costume, and it forced them to get creative and hide it more and that kind of stuff. Because it's rad, but the vibes, man, the whole movie is vibes, and I love that for that movie because it's
my favorite moment from the first movie in terms of the costume is Ripley on the escape pod, and you as an audience not even realizing that this biomechanical life form has like essentially blended into the background. Like you don't even catch it. You certainly didn't catch it like back 20 years ago on your 720 black and white TV that you're watching it on TNT or whatever. Like it just it looks so like organically mechanical that it just blends in into that like really industrial space that were those sets. And that's, I think, one of the crowning achievements of it is just Giger's like the way he saw biomechanical and implemented it.
Very and that was
successful.
a late run idea, like to the point where they had to like cut out a piece of the wall and try to figure out how to make it look like he was in the wall, sleeping in the wall. Like I can't remember exactly what the plan before that was, but then it was basically like, that's not going to look good. So how are we going to do this? Basically, it was what it came down to. Here's a weird fact I didn't know about the movie too. Originally, Jonesy was kept alive, so if they wanted to bring the alien back, it would come out of Jonesy.
Wow. Okay, that's interesting.
Because Jonesy, of course, has a small moment with the big alien by itself, where it's like my favorite moment of the movie, because the cat's like, "The heck is wrong with you? Leave me alone." I just love that vibe. Love that vibe.
It's so interesting because Jonesy to me felt very much like when I watch it now as an adult, and like just all the symbology of the movie. It's so interesting how they hyperfixated on everything but Jonesy in the sequels, because Jonesy his relationship with the alien and the alien's relationship with like cats, it almost feels like very ancient Egyptian in a way. Like, that like cats like had like power over the xenomorph in a strange way. Like the xenomorph's just like, I'm not bothering with this, or I shouldn't bother with I don't know what it was.
Maybe the Xeno had met one of those cats from Captain Marvel and was like, no. Yeah, not gonna mess with the Flurkin. It's not gonna happen.
Not a Flurkin. Yeah.
But no, it is fascinating.
It's all in the same IP universe now. Disney owns Xenomorphs.
Do you know what
Jonesy could have been a Flurkin now, if you think about it.
Could have been. It's not, and we're not going to go down that road.
Was Jonesy a Flurkin?
No.
Is that why the Xenomorph didn't mess with
CinemaSins 24. The problem
Call
with
me
Alien...
CinemaSins. I've got some great ideas for you.
The problem with Alien is that it's probably a Flurkin. The weird... Okay, what I do love, though, I think Jonesy's my favorite thing about Alien, and in a weird way, because it's a movie that is really scary, and on top of that, there's just a cat, and cats are chaos, and just like there's just so much of that movie where everyone's like, "Gah, Jonesy!" Like there's so much of jump scares that come from the cat, and I appreciate that as a cat owner, and I appreciate that in Aliens, the last thing she says to Jonesy is she calls him a little shit. I just think that's very funny.
Yeah,
it's just really like the cat's like whatever.
Yeah. And the cat knew better not to go back to LV.
Like, I'm good.
The cat's like, I'll stay here. I'm fine.
I got a
just euthanize me.
You go.
I have no interest in going back there.
Yeah, no thanks. The vibe. There's a name for that vibe in the first Alien movie, which is cassette futurism. I don't know if you know that.
Oh, really? Cassette futurism.
Cassette futurism. If you look it up, it's sort of that mid 70s, 80s look where everything's a little analog.
Right. Star Wars was very much that, in a way that Star Trek wasn't.
It was, Star Wars sort of laid a little bit on it without actually utilizing like reel to reels and
the Falcon is the best
specifically.
Example.
There's a bit of a vibe. If the Falcon had some monitors with green tints, which is great. What do you think about Aliens? You were a big Aliens guy?
Yeah, Aliens reinvented the franchise, in my opinion. It really, I know that there was a lot of hesitation with Sigourney going in, making it an action gun movie.
Yeah.
And it's watching, there's this truly incredible series right now on the making of these movies on YouTube. This guy, he put out 7 videos all in succession that are all linked together and tell the entire production of each of these Alien films. And the one thing that really stands out to me is studio meddling when it comes to the Alien films, and it feels like the studio meddling is a result of this movie, because James Cameron was a powerhouse, and he just did everything his way and didn't let the studios do Jack, and until it got to the editing, when it left his hands essentially, and you lose a lot of the humanity with the studio. Very Weyland-Yutani, cutting out Ripley's daughter, cutting out the whole idea of why she's into Newt and why she wants to protect Newt, and then Corporal Hicks and the whole drama with him leading into the actor leading into the next film, and why that led to rewrites. It's such a corporately cursed franchise. It's so amazing that we still have it, because the following movies, Alien 3, Alien 4, are nightmares for the directors who are trying to make a name for themselves and ended up becoming emasculated balls of goo by the end of the process.
Who did 3? I'm totally blanking at the moment on who.
Joss
Whedon wrote it.
Wrote 4.
And then became a
David
bit of a
Fincher.
predator
Fincher
himself.
did 3. Fincher did 3, right?
Yeah. Fincher
David
did
Lynch.
3.
David Lynch.
No,
Fincher.
Oh, Lynch doing an Alien movie. Oh my god. So Fincher pretty much swears it off.
It's interesting because of Aliens. James Cameron has not returned to Pinewood Studios, and refuses to ever work there, which is because even you listening to this, a YouTube theme park fan, knows the name Pinewood Studios because it's this iconic British.
Bond.
It's like British Hollywood. You know what I mean? And they treated James Cameron so poorly because of the idea, because of this movie, that he's like, I'm never going back there. I'm never ever going back there. It's incredible because he's trying to make Aliens at 10:30 rolls around in the morning. It's all right, tea time, and the entire crew leaves for half an hour. And James Cameron's like, I'm trying to make a movie, god damn it.
Yeah, true.
But truly, Americans in America making American movies work unlike any other a place on the world. So
because we're
I
a
really
terribly ununionized country.
Yeah. What was your favorite moment of Aliens? The second.
What is my favorite moment of Aliens? That's tricky.
The get away from her, you bitch moment, or
I like when Bishop does the thing with the knife early in the movie. I find it just very quickly. I just like Bishop, period. But I think it very quickly explains who he is and his relationship with the crew.
Absolutely.
And
I love
spooks the heck out of Ripley. Yeah.
Right. Bishop is such a great piece of the movie, and all androids serve such a critical role. And it's so wild that we weren't even going to have an android. It was a kind of a last minute script change that that character was added in one of the last drafts, a synthetic.
Yeah, it was I'm trying to remember exactly because it started. I mean, it was a wild idea that sort of came in mid. So they had. I don't want to get into the Alien writers crap because it's a lot of issues, but it was added as a way to sort of. You're right, add a twist basically, and it was not.
But informed the entire series then moving forward. 100%. It's so amazing how scrappy decisions like that end up influencing huge things later on. And the android is such an interesting, because I like Bishop a lot. Bishop was the first android we could trust in the series. And then you kind of see this back and forth with each movie. It's is the android trustable or not moving forward with the franchise? And I love that added kind of mystery to it. It's very and it also feels very much like an answer to Star Wars, which was, we got to have a robot humanoid. We got to get C-3PO and Alien somehow,
Yeah. And there's this weird connection, and it's never been fully connected, but between Blade Runner and Alien, there is a cohesiveness of
deep connection,
Android.
Yeah.
And and I really don't want them to try to make that a part of a shared universe, blah, blah, blah. But I do
Sure.
love that it's like there is that sort of same ethos between figuring that
Well,
kind of
yeah,
stuff
it's
out.
why the Weyland-Yutani merger in the canon of the story is actually so fascinating, because Blade Runner is this whole movie about synthetics, and like kind of like an organic synthetic, like a chemically like DNA, this like homegrown synthetic human, versus Yutani was making robot synthetic humans,
Right.
and like vice versa, back and whatever. And so
Yeah.
like those two mergings of the story, and I believe if anything, it's your favorite game, Alien Isolation, in its canon in that game connects the synthetics of both worlds, alongside a couple of like DVD extras of the first Alien movie, like just some real background notes that connected like the whole threads of synthetics from these two worlds kind of being like warring, and then eventually Weyland-Yutani wins out with their fake synthetics that we see in the later Alien franchise. It's so cool.
Yeah.
It's so smart.
It's so cool.
It's so wild.
And Isolation has a little Easter egg to Blade Runner. There's a little unicorn, paper unicorn that is in the in one of those safes. Yeah. And then of course Isolation also has the working Joes, which are the concept being, what if you had very synthetic, like base looking robots, because you don't want them to look like humans, and so you got these glowing eyes, and they just walk slowly and they kill you, and they're so scary, so scary. But I love like the whole concept of like there's these multiple companies that are doing this kind of robotic stuff. I like Aliens. I'm gonna give a shout out to Paul Reiser for being a
Mad
real
about you, Paul Reiser,
being a real good Weyland-Yutani employee. Just a real scuzz bucket.
Paul Reiser, you could totally take Mad About You and Aliens and kind of Futurama them together. I totally imagine Paul Reiser and Mad About You leaving Helen Hunt at his apartment, getting frozen cryogenically, and then waking up 1,000 years later to work for Weyland-Yutani. Because
and Helen Hunt's just like, I guess I'll go look for tornadoes.
Right. There we go. We're just building a cinematic universe now.
This
I
is
like
what
that.
everybody wants. Hey Dan, have you heard that Pixar is all like one shared universe? All right.
Oh my god, the Pixar theory. Get out of here.
Kill me.
Did you hear that all the Alien movies are one shared universe?
Have you heard?
What about Alien 3? Yeah. Let's talk about Alien 3.
I kind of dig it, man.
What version of it do you like? Do you like dog movie or cow movie?
Cow movie's the director's cut, right?
Yeah,
it's not done by the director, but it's based on his notes. Yeah, I like cow movie better. I like
cow movie's better. Yeah, cow movie's better.
It has its issues, but I just like that she's on a prison full of perverts. Like, it's this weird movie, man. They're just these monk perverts.
Yeah.
And
Aliens
I'm kind of
3,
for it.
Alien 3 is like this weird like moment in its franchise where the creative team from the first and the second movie, both like in terms of like the writing staff, kept getting passed back and forth the script, and like kept evolving and changing.
Yeah. Killing Newt.
What a movie. Like, truly, what a movie.
Was bad. I mean, it's not a good way to end a series. Like, she dies. Dan can no longer hear me. And we're going to continue. So just for all those who are listening via audio, Dan's headphones have just died because he has Apple Pros. He can't hear what I'm saying right now. So you should go check out.
Can I plug them in like this to reconnect?
You should go. See, he can't hear me. You should go check out my podcast, Rat Castle, which is far better than what we do here. Oh, Dan, can you hear me again?
Get out of here. Get out of here with it's far better.
So Dan can hear me.
It's equally bad.
It's equally bad. Yeah, it's true. What are we talking about? Oh,
Alien 3, dog versus cow.
Right, prison perverts.
Perverts.
I'm all for an alien movie that's got a doctor in it, and I love Paul McGann. He's one of my favorite doctors, the 8th Doctor.
Truly.
And man, does he gets to play a lot more in the director's cut. And so
he does.
I really enjoy that.
It's so
but it's a
crazy.
bummer of a movie. Like, he'll Newt, they kill everybody, including Ripley.
Yeah, they truly kill everybody.
They just kill everybody. It's a real downer, to be completely honest. It's not like a good alien movie. It's just kind of a good movie if it's by itself. The more you stop thinking of it as an alien movie, the better the movie gets. Oh, does that cat also have an alien inside of it?
Yeah, Frankie, do you have an alien inside of you? Do you want to say anything to the people at home?
Meow.
No? Okay.
No.
I like originally the concept, I believe, was that it was going to be an all wooden space station that the Xenomorph would get loose on with a bunch of like monks. A wooden planet. And then it turned into a wooden space station, I think, that was like crashed somewhere. Just so spacey and heady of an idea that clearly, I don't know. I definitely wouldn't have worked. The alien would have looked so weird in like an all wood, like in the elven forests of Lord of the Rings. You know what I mean? So I'm glad that they kind of took it more in terms of like the Chronicles of Riddick planet. You know what I mean? Like
just
with
Treebeard coming out of nowhere being like, "Are you a hobbit?"
Imagine Treebeard getting hit with a face hugger. Imagine the chest burster coming out of Treebeard.
That rules.
One of the Ents drinking the black goo from the engineers. I'm big into Lord of the Rings right now. Ring of Power Season 2 is awesome. I'm loving it.
Yeah? Okay, cool.
I really want a Lord of the Rings roller coaster somewhere. Theme parks.
Yeah, we all
Come on,
want
theme
that.
parks.
Come on, theme parks. Figure it out.
The movie, though, is a banger. I think it's a banger when you watch the director's cut. The other one is not so much a banger. The CGI is really rough.
Yeah.
I'm sad that the puppet work didn't really work out in the way that they wanted it to, because they had to do a lot of, I want to call it CGI, but a lot of digital composing that with that puppet on blue screen. It just doesn't look good.
And I do not like alien vision. I don't like the whole like first person running.
No.
Like you could set that to Benny Hill and it would, or Benny Hill.
It felt very Predator in a way. Like we saw what Predator saw, and so like a studio note was, we got to see what aliens see.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, not a great note. What about 4? 4, I have
4
no
is
love.
a treat.
I have no real love for 4. I think I've only seen it once, and I was like, 1 star, hate this. I probably should go back.
I don't know. I think I love it. Winona Ryder is a treat in it. You have like this like gang of space pirates, including Hellboy, that are super fun.
I love Brad Dourif, and I love Brad Dourif being a real scuzz, and he's a real scuzz in that movie.
Yeah,
so
yeah. And it also, it's you don't realize timeline wise, it's set hundreds of years after the original group of movies.
The
which
Freak Ripleys are fun too. I like all that.
Yes. The Cronenberg horror of it all, like the Cronenberg monsters of it all, are very fascinating. And apparently, the studio had a big, and like the final alien monster, my favorite studio note was, we have to remove its vagina penis. Because like Giger and like the whole gang, I guess like they threw together a real looker of a final monster, and the studio's like but like some real body horror in that one compared to a lot of the other ones, which is a lot of like horror movie type of gore where it's like a lot of blood splat. But this is like some like Cronenberg like monster level stuff, which I really dig.
I want to give a shout out to H.R. Giger for being a real creepy dude. Though I guess everyone liked him. Like it seems like everyone really liked hanging out with him. He would just like walk on set of the first Alien movie in all black with a cape and his hot girlfriend, and people were like, "Who's this guy?" Yes,
he's British Tim Burton. In a weird way.
He's not British. He's German, isn't he?
German. No, he's German. Austrian, Newfoundland, Finnish. He's the like, Finnish Tim Burton. He's European Tim Burton.
From the sack. He's Swiss.
There you go. Hard act to pinpoint. Let's be honest. So,
I honestly, this is something I love about H.R. Giger. It has nothing to do really with H.R. Giger, which is something I sent you. I don't know if you get a chance to check it out. The crew over at Super Ego is an improv troupe who do these like really fancy, like elaborately edited, sound designed, like sketches. They would record the improv and then they would just like really make them sound good. Matt Gorley, who people know from Conan's podcast, he was a part of that troupe, and one of the characters he did was H.R. Giger, but he just did H.R. Giger like he talked like this, and they like there's a great a sketch where H.R. Giger and his family go to a drive-through window to get food, and he's like, "Do you have a flesh wound and pupa sac with the molten dreams of fear? I'm looking for that." And like that's my favorite H.R. Giger, even though it's not the real H.R. Giger.
I have to check that out. You sent me that link.
It's
I'll have
incredible.
to check it out. I love watching the documentary that they did of him, like
Yeah,
of
man.
his process of making the Xenomorph, which is a must watch. It's like 40 minutes.
Yeah, his
and it's just him
girlfriend
whispering
directed most of it.
Yeah, and it's him being like, "This is the biomechanical engineer design," and it's just whispering to a lot of really trippy 70s music.
Yeah.
It's great. Highly recommended. What a weirdo! What a lunatic!
We love
what a
it.
visionary, though.
Yeah.
Truly, what a visionary! Because his art directly informed like a generation of like horror,
100%.
you know, and truly
man has
original in that way.
Yeah, and no man has embodied being like a vampire more ever.
Well,
Like,
you know what? He's very Tim Burton to me, if you ask me. He's very much
He's a quiet,
this, like,
weird dude. Yeah, you're
quiet,
right.
weird dude with a
With
very
hot girlfriends. Yeah,
with
that's
hot
exact-
girlfriends.
Yep.
Yeah. Dude, he's in love with what's her face from the Beetlejuice. You blew my mind telling me that he's dating the girl from the Matrix, Monica Bellucci or whatever.
Yeah.
What's going on, man?
That would
What
be
is
Tim Burton,
going
not
on?
Not
Could you
H.R. Giger
imagine
from the grave.
if where are the Tim Burton H.R. Giger fanfic, like, you know,
With them kissing. Show
yeah,
me Tim Burton and H.R. Giger
and thinking
kissing.
of weird things.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. I like the idea of H.R. Giger's more perverted, though. Like, I think that.
Well,
I think
yes.
Tim Burton would make. I think he would make Tim Burton sweat. You know what I mean?
Yeah. He's definitely more perverted. Although Tim Burton is spicy. I mean, like, you know, Tim Burton, the Corpse Bride, Sally. You know, like he's like macabre sexy, where Giger is like violent. Sexual violence sexy, I guess. I don't know. It's very violent art.
Yeah, if Tim Burton is like a Cajun gumbo, H.R. Giger is just like Hot Ones, like the entire show.
Yeah.
He's nuts.
He's spicy, that guy. I see here on the list we have AVP series.
Yeah.
Where are you with Alien vs Predator?
I watched the first one and I thought it was one of the worst things I've ever seen on it. And it was so bad that I literally had the other one ready to go. And I was like, I know this one's even worse. No, I'm not doing this for myself. I do not. Do you know how bad you have to be to make me, a nerd completist, be like, nope, I'm not completing this. It's not going to be completed.
I think that AVP has some fun moments. AVP Requiem is a disaster. Is truly a disaster of a film. And like the cinematographer's main complaint about every Alien film before Alien vs Predator was, are you ready for this? The scenes were all too bright. That was his main complaint about the franchise of dark corridors, shadowy dark corridors. That was his thing. So he made sure that Alien v Predator Requiem was the darkest film ever made.
What I hear is you can't see anything in that movie.
You cannot see half of what's going on in that movie.
Yeah.
It is infuriating. But I like the idea that we took an arcade cabinet game and made a full movie out of it with the guy from Millennia, you know, Bishop. Do you remember that Millennium show?
Barely.
It was like an X-Files spinoff. It starred that guy. Yeah, it starred that guy. And he was trying to be like an older Mulder, you know, older Mulder.
Yeah, older Mulder. Should just David Duchovny's coming back and playing an older Mulder.
Oh, I live every day.
Older
I
Mulder.
wait. Every day I wait for another announcement for more X-Files. Probably one of my favorite, and like we're just sleeping on X-Files. Why has that not been rebooted? Anyway.
I mean,
I love AVP. I love AVP. Yeah. I love the that the Predator he takes like the turtle shell off the head of the alien, and he's like, this will protect you from the blood, you know.
Yeah,
and then I love that one alien that has like the scar on his head from the net, and he's like out to get the
they
main
kind of
Predator.
identify.
Right.
All I know is one of the junkies from Trainspotting was in it, and I was like, "What is he doing in here?"
Yeah.
What is the
and he's
guy
hilarious. He's hilarious in it.
The
he's
guy
so
that
funny.
poops the bed is just in this movie,
right?
And he's like,
The
"I got kids,
implication-
and take a photo with me," and then he's like dead.
I know, right? And the implications of xenomorphs on Earth is huge. Like the fact that there's an alien queen frozen in the bottom, and also
I like the
speaking
concept. I like the overall idea of like predators go on walkabout, and they have to kill an alien to be accepted. That rules.
I think that's cool.
And then it's like But I couldn't. The problem with that movie was I actively wanted to see everyone die. Like I hated
everyone does die. Everyone does die. You're in luck.
Except for like the main lady, right? Who's like,
yeah. The Shonda Rhimes lady. Yeah.
Yeah. Is that what she does now?
No, well, I don't know. Like it weirdly feels like a Shonda Rhimes produced project because like there's a powerful black woman in it who who owns by the end of it.
She does. Yeah.
We also get the first filmed appearance of the Utanis in AVP in the after credits scene when they get the case with like the weapon, and it's like, she's like, this technology's not from our world, it's the Utani lady. I don't know if you're but
I turned it off. I didn't even know.
What you might want to revisit Alien vs Predator Requiem, but just go into it from here. Here's where I'm going to throw it to you, because the entire movie is that there's that the ship crashes from the end of the first one.
Right.
Xenopredator gets loose in a small town, like Twilight Town, you know what I mean? Just a small
like
town
Wisconsin or something.
Yeah, something like that. And runs amok. So they have to send in essentially a Ray Donovan alien, a Ray Donovan predator to go in as a fixer. So there's this fixer predader who suits up. And he's like, all right.
His father is John Voight too, but that's not explained.
Right.
Ever,
not touched on whatsoever.
Yeah.
And that's so funny to me, like a predator fixer, like coming in to be like, all right, I got to clean up. And he does, I want to say in the movie, he does a terrible job. He almost dies several times and barely makes it out of the final battle because, of course, like a big chat predator is OP. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Like you can't, and here's the craziest thing that the franchises both have been sleeping on for decades. Both aliens have the same color blood. Predator, alien, both have gooey, glowing glow stick blood.
There's nothing glowy about xenomorph blood.
Yeah, I'll tell you what's glowy about it: how it's eating through everything and causing chemical reactions.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. Prometheus. Okay. Let's just talk about Prometheus Covenant as one. We'll just do that.
Nathan, you made a fan edit of this?
Yes, I did.
You combined both films?
Yeah, I actively disliked Prometheus so much I needed to fix it. And take that, Ridley. Well, no, what I recognized. What'd you do? So I called it Alien Origins. And I centered it more on David. And there's some great leftover footage. And also they did a bunch of promo stuff for both Covenant and Prometheus.
Sure the TED Talk, that extra bonus feature with the crew.
So the movie begins with the TED Talk. And then the credits are mostly over this commercial they created for David, which is about selling Davids. And so I stripped all of the creation of David out of the commercial, and I made it sort of the origin of Alien is also the origin of David, and so it interlocks in that sort of way. And then I was able to it's been years since I made it, so I'm trying to think through where it goes from there. You go back, you start with Prometheus, and then you go to Covenant. So Prometheus ends. The first part of Prometheus ends with the guy drinking the goo. And then I cut to Covenant, and I do the first part of Covenant, and then I interlock both when James Franco gets burned to death and the goo dude transforms and gets killed. So both those characters get burned to death. And so they're also the lead protagonists lovers. And so the movie interlocks both of those things happening at the same time.
Oh, nice.
And then
they kind of they travel together kind of in a weird way. So in a lot of their beats.
Yeah. And they travel together. And then I brought all the footage back of David killing the engineer planet, which is all stuff that was ripped out of the movie. 'Cause there's all this footage of him blowing up their planet. So when David is talking to Walter, in Covenant, and he sort of looks off in the distance thinking about it, I just show all of that with some music. And then, it sort of was a way of mushing what I liked about Prometheus with what I think is a better movie in Covenant for the most part, in the sense that it's more interesting. Prometheus is just so full of like, I was like, I don't care about the scientists that get lost. I don't care about, like, I just cut so much stuff.
There's a lot of filler nonsense in that movie.
And so it was a fun experiment, and it let my brain stop screaming. So that's why I do any of that kind of stuff. But
I like moments from both of the films. I just rewatched them recently, and I'm sort of kind of excited at the potential of, and I've read a little bit of this online, that the colony that the protagonist from Alien Romulus is aware of and thinking of is the colony that David takes over in Covenant on its way. And so that she is shipping herself out to David's colony planet that he has been building. And I'm really, I would love nothing more than for the franchise to really tie together a beat like that and bring David.
Incredible in those movies.
Incredible. The character of David and Walter too, incredible, just wild. And the amount of extra stuff that they had for Covenant that you don't even see on screen, like all of his experimentations, all of his documentations that he has hanging all over the place.
He shows that they show that he murders the lady.
Yeah,
I remember her name. But there's you're right. There's more documentation. There's more conversations with her.
So much stuff
when he puts her to sleep, and she's like, "Okay, I'll see you later." And
to your point, it's so wild. You're able to make a fan out of so much of the extra stuff that they just cut from these movies. They cut so much stuff from these movies. Yeah. But hey, we're not going to talk about Romulus yet. But what I do
love is there's two. The movie was produced. The original Alien was produced by Gordon Carroll, Walter Hill, and David Hill. No, David Geyer, Walter Hill. And what they're doing in Prometheus and then in that is they're naming the characters David and Walter. And those are directly named after the producers.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
And they wrote a bunch of the stuff for the first movie too. Walter Hill, of course, made his own name directing The Warriors and things like that. But yeah, that's
the musical coming to Broadway.
The Warriors, really?
By Lin-Manuel Miranda, yeah.
Holy moly. I didn't know that.
The Warriors come out to play.
Come out to play. That was a great, by the way, we could talk all day about how great that video game was. I loved that video game. Anyway.
Nathan's a huge Warriors stan.
Yeah, the Warriors shared universe.
Speaking of Warriors, should we talk about theme parks?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Alien Encounter.
Did you write Alien Encounter?
No, I had a better experience than writing it.
What's that?
I was young, and I went into the gift shop, and I remember, this must have been, what's the one at the end there? Whatever. I can't remember back then, but all I know is I was sitting looking at like the toy Skippy and the aliens, the stuff that I wish I had bought then, because it was like, now I love it. And it was sort of like, do you want to go in this or not? And I was like, I don't know. And then I could just hear the screaming.
Oh, really? Like a kid in the dentist office waiting, hearing the people screaming in the back with the drills.
And I was like,
wow,
nope, not doing that. And then I didn't. So I could have, but I didn't. But I honestly think that's probably a more terrifying experience than actually writing it.
Sure, the anticipation, the fear of it.
Yeah.
More powerful than the actual thing, probably, in a lot of ways.
Did you write it?
As previously mentioned, we were a pro-alien family. The truth is out there, baby. And so we were getting it. We were getting the alien experience. Are you kidding me? We were going to see a real alien? Yeah, bring it on. Yeah. And of course, it's one of my favorite theme park Tim Curry vehicles. I love it. I love so much.
Sir. Phil Hartman before him for like 5 seconds, but yeah.
Right. For just a hot, 3 weeks
Curry,
or something like that.
That's one of my favorite animatronics, period. It's such a perfect unity of voice and look that says,
and I love,
you're going to get scared.
Right, exactly. And then Phil Hartman couldn't deliver that.
No.
And that's
and he wasn't
kind of one of the main
to.
reasons. Right, he wasn't asked to, but he was like a showman more so in terms of check out the technology. But Tim Curry was like a very like deep, dark, mysterious character and really changed the tone of that scene massively.
Has any like animatronic had better voice cast though? Phil Hartman, Tim Curry, and then Richard Kind.
I know, right? I know, right?
Have I ever done my Richard Kind for you? I can do a pretty good Richard Kind. All you
Bring it
gotta
on.
do is go right up here, and so Richard Kind is just kind of up here. He just kind of talks like this.
I like that each episode is you trying out impressions. Last episode was Beetlejuice.
I don't know.
Now
man.
you're doing Bing Bong.
I just do them all the time, and they're not good, but they're fun. So anyway,
You know what? Let's bring Kevin back. Let's get Kevin from Defunctland. This was his first episode, and we'll do a whole alien. Let's just do a whole thing talking about the alien ride.
We are going to have a whole episode, I think, where we are going to bring our own ideas for what the heck they need to do with that spot, because that spot is just sitting there. And I got ideas. I have a whole
number one idea: bring the original ride back with the Xenomorph. That's just the number one idea.
It's not good for Magic Kingdom. It is such a Hollywood Studios ride to make it Xenomorph, and I agree.
Sure, well,
but just take those chairs over. It's not complicated.
Pick it up and move it.
Just move it. It's very tiny.
Right.
You could probably
move it. Just rebuild it.
And it would be cheaper,
bigger
than making
better, sexier.
Give
Make
me
all the seats have boobs.
I need a sexy pole dancing Xenomorph.
Yeah.
Right in the middle there.
Now, great movie ride you had to have done.
Yeah, of course.
Most terrifying moment of your vacation, though, was that Nostromo's tunnel, right? Like,
I didn't get to go to...
seared into my brain.
I mean, I was cautious. Here's the thing. I didn't get to go to Hollywood Studios till I was in college. We were a Magic Kingdom family. And then I dated a girl who was interning with a college program. And I, hit up... I went one spring break.
Because there's no straight men in the college program, is something I'm understanding. Is that
so
there are four or five straight men, and they live like like true sluts.
Sure. Well, you've opened an interesting wound, because my girlfriend had already decided to dump me by the time I had gotten there.
Nathan, did she dump you on the great movie ride?
No, she wouldn't dump me she wouldn't dump me on the vacation. Because
that was nice of her.
All I know is I picked her up and I went for a kiss, and she had a ham sandwich, and she said, I got my mouth full of ham sandwich. And then I realized I never got a kiss the whole trip. What I do remember about the Great Movie Ride, it wasn't MGM, it's Hollywood Studios by then, day was I got incredibly sick. I got a fever and I wouldn't leave. I did the whole, I was like leaning in Toy Story Midway Mania, just like
super spreading.
Terrible.
Great.
Let me tell you what, when I rode Tower of Terror for the first time, I literally had a fever. It was a flop sweat. People were screaming and I was like, but no, I rode it then, and I felt okay when we rode Great Movie Ride.
Is there a chance that she didn't kiss you because of how much you were sweating from the moment you got off the plane?
No, but no, it's because she didn't love me anymore, Dan. That was the reason.
You're happily married now.
It's all turned out. Yeah. It all turned out well. And
you got to ride the Great Movie Ride because of her.
And then I rode it with my wife the week that it closed.
Really?
Yes. And we got stuck on the Great Movie Ride. We got, I was determining if I wanted to ride it one more time. And then we got stuck at my favorite scene, Casablanca. And we got to watch the entire scene 3 times. And I said, You know what? I can't beat this. And then I never
beat that.
I
Not the original plane?
Nope.
From the movie? Nope. The original plane was a cardboard cutout with small people in front of it to make it look bigger.
Nope. That is half a Jungle Cruise plane. That is there.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. I love that. I love that fun fact about the ride.
Let's talk about Alien, though. I keep talking about just Great Movie Ride. Yeah, I wasn't scared. I just was really happy. But it also is like an absolute, kind of whirlwind. Like, there's just all of a sudden so much noise. The first movie in that way.
Yeah.
So
very much so.
It works,
and that is what horror houses use by and large to just keep you unsettled and unnerved.
Did you say horror houses or whore houses?
Got to check the tape.
Both.
Yeah, Alien Movie Ride, the great Alien part of the Great Movie Ride was the scariest part of my Disney vacation.
Oh, for
I remember squeezing my eyes shut when I was really little. All this, I definitely wouldn't look up. God forbid.
God
and I was
forbid.
always, if I was sitting on the right side of the ride vehicle for the wall alien, get out of here with that. Get out of here with that. So, and then, of course, that wall alien ended up in a museum there's some really great photos of now. So
it looks pretty rad. I think that was part of the exhibit that they did for the event. I don't know if it's a permanent one or it's not part of the...
it was an exhibit. It was a touring exhibit kind of thing. A temporary exhibit. Love that.
I loved that. And I loved that the fact that I've not been able to stand in a queue that looks like the Nostromo sucks. Like, I'd rather do that than the Millennium Falcon. Like, I just love that queue in that area and that vibe. So
yeah, and it's interesting. I mean, we can skip ahead to the fact that like we had a lot of alien rides on their way because 20th Century Fox lands were in development, and so there's a place in Malaysia called Genting Skyworlds that now is completely rethemed into Alpha Starbase, but was all Weyland-Yutani terraforming. There's supposed to be a drop tower with an alien animatronic. There's supposed to be like an alien indoor coaster. There's and then like in Dubai they were working on a terraforming colony with a Weyland-Yutani like Buzz Lightyear Astro Blaster ride, cool. Which is so cool. Bring it back to its original roots, because that's what Eisner wanted when he originally envisioned an alien ride, was like a Men in Black, like shooter ride where you just shoot aliens with a laser gun on your ride vehicle.
That reminds me of one of my favorite little alien homages. Do you remember the one in Toy Story?
I don't.
They go to Pizza Planet, and there is an alien there's an astronaut sprawled out, and it's whack-a-mole.
Right, the whack-a-mole alien
and
chest thing, hilarious.
Xenomorphs. It's so good. It's so good.
Where is that now? The vertical integration machine has brought us to a place where we can now have that machine.
Let's get if you would have an entire hour and a half conversation at some point about why Disney has absolutely and 100% failed to bring a good Pizza Planet to every corner of this nation, we can have that conversation.
Yeah,
That's
going on there?
all I ever wanted. That's
going on
all
there?
I ever wanted.
Instead of theme park pizza.
Yeah, Mickey's Kitchen, get the heck out of here.
Get out of here. Yeah. We don't want Mickey's Kitchen.
What did you think of? Oh, I want to say something about Speed of Fright Simulator, which I thought was pretty cool, which is an iWorks film. So the iWorks people, of course, those who don't know who iWorks is, iWorks was like second to Walt at the very beginning.
He was the guy who invented Mickey.
Yeah, 100%. And his son, he worked the rest of his life for Disney, and then his son worked for the parks, and then created his own company, which is the company that created that film. As well as if you go to like tons of museum, big theater experiences, and they'll sometimes have like a glass case where you're walking by and you can see the entire projection room right for that area. You'll see that those are iWorks machines. They're still iWorks machines.
iWorks is a real big name.
Yeah, and then
they just recently produced that Disney Plus series on about the parks.
Yeah, his daughter wrote did the Imagineering series and wrote the big old book on it. So pretty cool.
Yeah, pretty iconic family in terms of Disney history.
Oh yeah, very much so. What do you think of AVP Halloween Horror Nights?
Well, I think it's the best thing to come out of AVP, quite honestly, was this idea, because the idea of domestic predator aliens just like in a house is very wild, very cool, something we have not seen done on film until AVP Requiem, and it was done so poorly in that movie, like to see a predator and an alien like in someone's living room. So it was very, very cool to see like a horror house that like used these very domestic, very grounded things. It feels very much like Predator, the second one, where like they're really in urban areas and you see like an alien in a very American place. And so I loved it. I thought the house was so cool. The big animatronic queen alien at the end of the Hollywood house was so cool. So freaking cool. And it was a puppet. People don't realize. People think it's animatronic, but nope, there were just interns back there wiggling those sticks.
Every time someone, any time, just this is a thing for people to know when they're in theme parks. If it's not going to last forever, and if it seems rather fluid, it's probably a puppet.
Right.
There's a good chance. They're not going to make a robot. They're not going to make a robot.
Robots are too important. Too expensive.
Here's my big plan for Alien, and I think I can solve the East Coast Disney Marvel crisis. I think that Disney needs to give Universal both Alien and Predator for theme park use. Plus Planet of the Apes. I don't think they'll go for it. It's not going to work. They're like, nah, I'm not going to.
If they give them Planet of the Apes, we're just going to get like another Kong screen ride. Like you're not going to.
It's a wonderful day or whatever he says in the trailer. I haven't seen that one yet.
It's interesting though, Universal there's a rumor that they're planning to get rid of their Marvel Land, which is fascinating to me.
I mean, it makes sense. If they do, then I think there's a deal that could be made. I think there's a deal that could be made there. I think I would trust
got some good bargaining chips there.
I would honestly trust Universal to actually utilize for horror purposes Alien better than I do Disney.
For sure.
Because they have and you should have every Halloween Horror Night should have an alien. Like, it's just so simple.
Yeah,
it's just so simple.
The Xenomorph costume itself is very complicated to replicate. I kind of talked about it a little bit in the Alien War section of my video. And you actually brought it up to me when I was first researching it. You mentioned how hard it is to be in this costume. Yeah. And like a good reason why we probably don't see it very often in the parks. And even the Halloween Horror Nights aliens were just a chest plate and gloves and like a fake head that was actually mounted to a thing that they could just move it in and out. So it's a hard costume to implement in the parks, but I would love to see more of it.
Yeah, and I just think that we could do a lot more with face huggers and all sorts of stuff. There's just a lot of stuff that could be done. I think I don't understand Disney's hesitation to just go full horror and have a horror house. And
they have off-track betting now, so I'm sure we'll get there eventually.
Yeah, man. Yeah, do the stuff. Yeah, they'll do anything. So come on, just use your properties well.
They'll get there.
Speaking of a thing that I'm, I guess, was this during or after the Disney company owned Alien? Because I imagine if Disney knew about it, they'd be like, shut it down, which is the Alien high school play.
Yeah, this was I believe 2019, if I remember correctly.
Also, Disney would have owned it, right?
Yeah. I'm looking here really quick at my Xenomorph script.
Also, not a good idea probably for the Disney company
2019.
to squash the hopes of theater kids. Though what's the college program for if not squashing the hope of theater kids?
Yeah, I loved it. I love the play. It's so cool. It's so inventive. It's so creative.
I would go to it now. Any high school, all the time. Disney, you're like, put Frozen Junior on. No, give me Alien. I want to see Alien the play.
Yeah, it was very cool. And the fact that the kids had to could remount it for Sigourney to come back and see it was bananas,
I love
absolute
so
bananas.
Much.
And I say it in the video, and I think it's really something to mention, is that the kids just made the costume the same way Giger did. Like, they had a black jumpsuit on a mannequin, they just hot glued stuff. And if you watch on certain, they had this one news station do an article about them where they showed the kid putting the costume on, and they literally just zip tie the kid into this pile of garbage that he then has to walk around carrying. Yeah. It's crazy, but that's, in a weird way, that's what the original Alien costume was. Yeah. Now, the original costume, Giger threw weird alien, he threw weird bones on stuff, weird tubes, plasticine, and then they cast that model in latex rubber to make the suit that Balaji Badejo wore. But in this one, they just took the jumpsuit, glued everything to it, and the kid wore the heavy jumpsuit.
Yeah. It's the coolest thing.
But it looks so good.
Yeah, the spacesuits too. My gosh. I just love that.
Amazing what they could do. What they could do for pennies.
I wish they would have been able to do a run at Comic-Con or something. I would have loved that for them because people would have went.
They're all children though. Labor laws, man.
Yeah, I guess. They're not kids now probably though. They're all adults. I wonder where they're at. I want to know about the alien kids. What happened to them?
Maybe they're watching this right now.
Oh my God. If you were in the Alien high school play, come on, the fun.
Yeah, we'll have you on for sure.
Absolutely. 100%.
As long as it was a speaking role.
None of you behind the scenes people.
No. I'm just
lighting. Get out of here. All right. This leads, of course. Well, I'm going to talk for 5 seconds about Alien Isolation. Did you play Alien Isolation?
I have not. I watched a lot of YouTube about it though, and I watched some lore videos about it. I understand the game, and that it's Ripley's daughter out there searching for her, which is very interesting. And there's kind of this, it creeps on the edge of canon, but not been.
I really wish it would have been made into
Romulus
an
kind
movie.
Of canon, officially canonizes a lot of elements of it.
Yes,
I think, but it doesn't canonize the story. And honestly, I like what they did with Romulus better than if they would have made an Isolation movie. I don't really care about Ripley's daughter, and I don't need
that
answers.
Need of that connection.
Yeah. In fact, I think it would cheapen the whole Newt situation to it's fine. The Alien Isolation game stands as its own beautiful, perfect
opposed
thing.
to Alien 3, which kills Newt.
Yes,
that we're worried about Alien Isolation cheapening the Newt experience.
Right.
What I will say though is that Fede Alvarez, who directed Romulus, it was playing Isolation that made him go, okay, you could make an Alien movie now. It can still be creepy. We could do this right. And he's entirely right, because that game is like a sound designer wet dream. It's so scary, and there's so really truly not a lot going on besides vibes. And having played it 3 times now and getting more confident each time in what I'm doing, I still find myself going like, oh, because like it's not even just the Xenomorph, it's like the Working Joes and other people, and like it's just this whole kind of concept, and it really does this excellent job of giving you kind of what you want from a classic sense. No guns. That you get a gun, you get a shotgun and a couple guns, but you use them, you're dead meat. If the alien's around, so it's very smart about all of that and resources and stuff. So I would highly recommend. Dan, I would love for us to do a stream of you playing Alien Isolation and watching you scream and cuss.
I would love to do it.
We should do that.
I learned a lot about the game. The alien itself has a generative AI learning curve, so it will understand how you play the game and where you like to hide and what you like to do, and then it will search those areas more frequently.
Yep.
And the alien, much like your character model, it has a physical presence in the game at all times. It's rendered in game, lurking in the shafts of the spaceship, and is actively moving around at all times that you are actively moving around. And so that's really cool. That's a really interesting game style.
And they brought back the original. They brought back the original cast for some DLC, which are pretty short, but you get to go on the actual Nostromo and do some scenes from Alien, which is pretty cool.
Ooh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Except everybody sounds like really, really old, because they are. But that's okay.
Naturally.
But we mentioned Romulus. We probably should get into your thoughts on Romulus. I'm assuming you've seen it. I've seen it twice.
Yeah. I loved it. I thought it was so cool. I really loved some of the new stuff that they did with the Alien franchise, from everything from zero gravity, acid blood to the monstrosity that is the finale.
Yes.
That I won't tell you about, but it is bananas to behold, and the fact that it was a practical makeup actor
that makes it so much worse,
even more terrifying.
That poor
guy,
behind
the scene footage.
That poor guy, like, God bless him for making the money the way he's doing this kind of stuff. And was he in basketball? There was something about him being in basketball.
Yeah. But he's super tall.
He's super tall, and he kind of looks a lot like the guy. Like, no offense, no
shade, no tea,
but. There's a reason he was picked. There's way less work done than you think there is in CGI in those scenes.
Yeah,
man.
in the same way that the engineer actor looks a lot like the engineer. He's also a big built, weird looking dude. That they layered stuff on top of. Yeah. So a lot of really creepy horror stuff, man. In this one, yikes.
And speaking of androids, that Romulus is my favorite alien android now, David Johansen, who plays him.
What an actor.
Jeez Louise.
The transformation that he goes through with his character is like he should have gotten an Oscar or something. Like, it's bananas, what is going on with that kid.
There's still time. I hope that would be wonderful, because it's incredible. And he's
really
not in a lot of
movies. Of acting.
He's in a great little romantic comedy called Rye Lane, if people are interested in seeing more from him. It's really good.
Well, I'm sure we're going to be seeing a lot more of him now.
I hope, because he's really, really good. And Caitlin Spaney, who plays the semi-Ripley knockoff, is pretty good too. What I think Romulus does really interesting is the first half is Alien and the second half is Aliens. And there's a very clean delineation between those.
Right. Yeah.
And it does feel like that, but it never fully feels like it goes full Force Awakens. No. But there's enough new. I mean, there's one thing that makes it feel a little Force Awakens that I could have dealt without, but beyond that,
I think I know what you're talking about too.
Yeah. Yeah, unnecessary, completely and totally unnecessary.
Yeah. It's almost like the Yippee-Ki-Yay in the Die Hard movies, how they had to force that into every single movie after that. You know, it's like this. I'm sure this guy has other things he says. You know, but I guess not.
Yeah, but it was still interesting. I mean, like that's the thing is, on the second watch, I found myself more okay with certain things
Fan
that
service?
they did. Yeah, I mean, there's a line that the David Johannes characters, the robot says after a certain scene, and you're like, what? Like, why? But then you watch it again, and you recognize in a scene that's pretty chaotic that someone calls him, I don't mind ruining it, like he does the whole like bitch line from Aliens, and like someone calls him a bitch, and you can see him sort of think through what that means for a second, and you don't pick up on it the first time you're watching it because there's just too much going on. So
I see.
There are some moments like that I feel like on a second watch,
gotta wait for that VOD release so I can get my second watch in.
Get it on. I got myself that Regal Unlimited. I might go back for a third helping. We'll see.
Is it still in the theaters?
It isn't. It is over here when they're not showing Matt Walsh movies. Yeah.
I'm gonna search it up here. Digital release date.
I don't know when they're releasing it digitally. My theater is just full of like weird movies they need to fill, like and then like we'll bring back
November
Twisters.
25th.
Oh, that's later than I would have
date.
expected.
They moved it back. It was supposed to be early October.
They were just going to drop that on Hulu. Can you imagine? The waste of money? Like,
well, I mean, Prey is, I think, the same kind
Prey's
of.
incredible.
They could have put Prey in They could have put Prey in the theaters, and
if they put Prey in theaters now, I'd go see it. It's so good. Like, it's so good. So I think we're done with that whole going to put it on streaming only, because guess what? That makes you no money. So I'm not worried about Aliens, though we will be seeing Aliens in streaming very soon.
With Alien Earth.
Alien Earth from my main man behind. I'm totally blanking on his name now. My brain is saying Noah Wally. My brain was saying Brian Fuller. I know that's wrong. Noah Wally, who did Fargo and the X-Men oriented show. Was it Legion? He is behind the Alien show, and I guess it's all Wayland Yutani politics. So
I'm very Andor.
Hey, look, I love Empire nonsense, and bitching and moaning in boardrooms. And if you want to do that with Wayland Yutani, more power to you. I'm willing to watch. So, yeah. What about you? What do you want to see the future of Alien? Are you interested?
Alien ride. I want some theme park integration. I think it's time. I think that at the very least we could do an alien photo op jump scare like we have with the Velociraptor in Universal Studios. Put it in a themed little area. Have a xenomorph on display for a photo. It jump scares you. Everyone screams, and then you move on for the next party. I think that like a xenomorph in the parks would be really fun, and it has been super successful. We've had them. It's time to bring them back.
Yeah, I don't know why they don't just do it as a horror, or like not a horror night. It's a not so scary. Like you can have one on a stage walking around, and it wouldn't be super scary, But it'd be people would like it. I don't know. They're not going to do it. But one can hope. Dan, what are you having fun doing? What is making you happy? I went what is making you happy, because that's what Pop Culture Happy Hour says. I just realized what I did.
What am I having fun with right now?
Yeah, what are you having fun with?
Halloween shopping, baby. It's the season. It's the season of spooky stuff hitting the shelves, and I love it.
Getting in the
spirit and seeing
of
all
things,
the weird.
one might say.
We're gonna get the Spirit Halloween made me mad this morning. The Big Lots filed for bankruptcy, and they immediately posted Spirit Halloween's coming soon to your Big Lot stores. I was like, all right, that's fine. People are losing their jobs. It's a perfect time to shit post, I guess, So I was like, come on, guys.
Yeah,
could have wait like 3 days.
That joke is so old that it should have a Spirit Halloween in it. Like that's how old the joke is.
Right. Yeah. So, but I love seeing what weird stuff Target bizarrely comes out with every year, because it feels like whatever people are in charge of Target's Halloween section were big Nickelodeon fans as a kid. So like, I love just seeing like the wacky weirdness that comes out of Target's Halloween section. And then it's also just weird and interesting seeing what what brands we've leaned on for Halloween costumes this year. Like, what did the big marketing people gamble on being the big bets? And will it turn out or not?
So the Juice.
Oh,
yeah. Wednesday. Those are the two big ones that I've seen.
We'll even have Astrid costumes of like Marie Curie, which is so weird. It's a costume of a character wearing a Halloween costume, but you're calling
that didn't work that well in the movie in the first place. Yeah. It's really weird.
So yeah. So, I'm interested to see, lots of Wednesday stuff, I'm sure.
We bought last night, the snakes. Did you see the snake candle holders?
No, I haven't. At Target?
They're like golden iron snakes, and they're wrapped together and they go up with their mouths open, and you can put candelabras.
Nathan's already buying.
Yeah, man. Well, I'm watching Hammer movies. We'll get into those later, but that's if you want to go for spooky stuff. I'm watching old school Hammer, Christopher Lee, Dracula movies. That's what I'm up to for that. But my fun thing is a book I just mentioned on the show, and then I also finished it, but it is this little guy. I don't know if you can see it. The Making of Alien by J.W. Rinsler. And that
looks cool.
Beautiful,
that looks like a big book.
Beautiful book. I have a big boy, big book like holder for my desk that I can like open it like a tomb, like just kind of like and just like read. And it works really well. It's a great book, and it's all that information I explained.
Lots of great facts we got in this podcast from that book. Yes, thanks to you.
And then eventually I'll read the sequel. There's one on Aliens by J.W. Rinsler.
Oh, really?
Well. So
same size book?
Same.
Oh, you have it. You just haven't read it.
It's a big boy. Another big boy.
Wow, look at that.
Another big boy, full of business.
Wow, I wish I knew how to read.
It's whatever. Just let LeVar Burton do that for you. It's all good.
Yeah. Well, this is fun. I love Alien. Thanks for talking with me about Xenomorphs, man.
Yes, and we definitely will have before they release some information about what the heck they're going to do with that alien encounter spot, we'll definitely have an episode with some fun ideas.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds great. Let us know what you guys are doing for fun in the comments. Don't forget to leave a review on your favorite podcast platform. I'm seeing a lot of you out there doing it, so thank you so much. Thanks for listening, and thanks for watching. A bunch of you are listening now. Like, we've got all these great listeners that are starting to pour in. So this is great. I'm having fun. We're building a little community. I love reading all your comments. I love reading all your fun stories. So keep on sharing them. And don't forget, we have a new Instagram that I just threw up, fun pod on Instagram, so go follow that because I'm starting to post more clips from the show. So go over there and have some chuckles with us.
Yeah, and thank you to our owner Wayland Yutani. If you're interested in a job in the mining industry, there's only one great company that'll treat you right, and that's Wayland Yutani. So thank you, Wayland Yutani. We love you.
This has been a production of 710 Media.